Hello students, how are you? Students, I think all of you will be all right at your homes and you will be enjoying online study. Students, yesterday I explained second part of the lesson. In that part I was telling you that after giving some instruction, while Jackson was moving away from Ivan's cell, like he reached out of his cell, and while moving away from his cell, he said that he wanted to tell one thing more. He addressed Evans and Einstein and he said that he wanted to tell one thing more, wanted to say one thing more. Yeah, what's that? At this, Evans asked what he wanted to tell. Good luck, old son. After that, Jackson wished him good luck by addressing him old son. In the little lodge, just inside, after that Jackson went away. In the little lodge, now I'm going to explain next part of the lesson, or third part of the lesson. In the little lodge, just inside the prison's main gate, Reverend Stuart McLeary signed his name neatly in the visitor's book and thence walked side by side with a silent prison officer across the exercise yard to Deaving. In the little lodge, in the little shelter just inside the prison main gate. Student, little shelter just inside the prison main gate. There was a prison main gate, and after that, little shelter, teen shed shelter. The shelter was made for, you can say it was a guard room. Okay, and in that room, in that shelter, little lodge, little guard room, inside the prison main gate, Reverend Stuart McLeary signed his name in the visitor's book. Students, I had already told you while telling summary that the person who signed in the visitor's book, he was not Stuart McLeary. He was impersonating Stuart McLeary. He was actually Evan's friend. Clear? And that impersonating Stuart McLeary signed his name neatly in the visitor's book, and after that, walked side by side with the silent officer. After that, he started moving along with a silent prison officer. And after that, after crossing the exercise yard, he entered Deaving, where he was greeted by Jackson. And in the Deaving, Jackson was there, and when Jackson saw impersonating Stuart McLeary, he greeted him. The wing's heavy door. Jackson was, there was a Deaving, and in Deaving there were two doors, and out of one door Jackson was standing when he saw Stuart McLeary, and after greeting him, he unlocked the first door of the Deaving. Clear? Unlocked, and after that, when he entered, then he again locked the door of Deaving. The heavy inner door the same way. After that, he unlocked the heavy inner door of the Deaving. Then, after coming out of the inner door, he again locked it. Clear? Locked it, and The same man McClary was handed into Stephens' keeping. After that, he handed McClary over to Stephens. Stephens, get the razor, murmured Jackson. While Jackson was handing McClary over to Stephens, Jackson instructed Stephens to get the razor from Evans. Stephens nodded, and Stephens nodded in order to tell him that he would take. Well, keep your eyes skinned clear. And after that, Jackson instructed Stephens that he should fix his eyes on him. He should be watchful towards Evans. Stephens nodded again. Again, Stephens nodded and told that he would be watchful. And McClary, his feet clanging up the iron stairs, followed his new guide and finally stood before the cell door. After that, McClary followed Stephens. And he ascended the iron stairs by producing clanging sound. And after that, both of them, McClary and Stephens, reached just before the cell door, before a cell door. It was Evans' cell. After ascending the iron stairs, McClary and Stephens stood before Evans' cell door, where Stephens opened the peephole and looked through. After reaching cell door, Stephens opened the peephole. There was a hole on the cell door, and after reaching the cell door, Stephens opened the peephole of the door and looked through that peephole. That is him, sir. After that, he showed Evans to McClary. Through the peephole, he showed Evans to McClary and told him that this is the candidate whose examination would have to be conducted. Evans, facing the door, sat quietly at the farther of the two tables, his whole attention riveted to the textbook of elementary German grammar. When he looked through the peephole, he found Stephens sitting facing the door, farther away from the two tables. His whole attention, and that time he was reading elementary German grammar book. His total attention was fixed in reading elementary German grammar book. Stephens took the key from its rings. After that, Stephens took the key from his rings, and the cell lock sprang. And then after taking the key, he unlocked the cell door. When he unlocked the cell door, then it produced a sound, threaded metallic sound. It was 9:10 a.m. when the governor switched on the receiver. It was 9:10 a.m. when the governor switched on the receiver, because governor fitted a microphone inside Evans' cell in order to observe his activity. That is why at 9:10 a.m. when the governor switched on the receiver, he had instructed Jackson to tell Evans of the temporary little precaution. That time, governor had instructed Jackson to tell Evans about the temporary little precaution. That was only fair, as if Evans would not spot it. Mr. Jackson, governor instructed Jackson to tell Evans of the temporary precaution. Jackson, governor told Jackson that he should be alert, and he should also instruct Evans he should not try to escape. Okay, as if Evans would not escape it. He instructed Jackson for being alert so that Evans might not escape from there, and he also instructed Jackson to instruct Evans that he should not try to escape from the jail. How on earth was Evans going to try anything on today? Governor was thinking how Evans was going to try to escape that day, and how he could write the correct answers of the question given in the question paper. If he was so anxious to make another break, because governor knew very well that Evans did not know anything about German language, then how would he attempt the question paper? How would he attempt the examination? That is why governor was thinking, if Evans was trying to escape and it was his plan to attempt O-level German examination, why in heaven's name had not he tried it from the recreation block? And Gaurav was thinking that how he once would try to escape from the recreational block much easier, but he had not, and there he was now, but he could not run away from there. Governor was thinking. Okay, sitting in the locked cell, all the prison officers on the alert. Governor was thinking that all the prison officers were vigilant, and Evans could not escape from there. Two more locked doors between his cell and the yard. I was thinking that there were two more locked doors between cell and the yard. Two more locked doors. Then how Evans could escape from there? And the yard, if suppose Evans unlock the two doors, and after that suppose he might reach the yard, then even after that he could not escape, because the walls of the yard were as high as the haystack. Student, haystack means hay is a type of dried straw, and dried straw, where dried straw is kept, then the walls of that storeroom is that stack is very high. That is why governor was thinking the walls of the yard were as the haystack. Walls of the yard were very high, and Evans very high as the walls of haystack. It was not haystack there, but governor was comparing that the walls, height of the walls as the walls of the haystack. Okay? Haystack. Yes, Evans was as safe as houses. And governor was thinking, governor assured himself that Evans could not escape from his cell, and he was as safe as he was safe in his house. Anyway, it would not be any trouble at all to have the receiver turned on or next couple of hours or so. The governor was thinking it could not be any trouble, like he should not have to turn on the speaker for the next couple of hours, because invader was there, and prison officers were there, and the walls of the yard were very high, and before the wall there were two locked doors, and that is why Evans could not escape. That is why governor thought that it was not need to turn the receiver on for the couple of hours, means for 2 hours, because examination was to be conducted within 2 hours. So it was not as if there was going to be anything to listen to. And Governor was thinking that it was not anything going to happen which Governor would have to observe in that short period of time, in 2 hours. Was it? Almost other things, an invigilator duty was to ensure that the strictest silence was observed. And invigilator was there. Invigilator was appointed for maintaining the silence in the cell. But still that little nagging doubt. But Governor had still doubt. Governor was doubtful. Governor was still doubtful. But the Governor had a little problem and he was doubtful regarding Evans. Okay. Might Evans try to take advantage of McClary? Governor was thinking Evans might take the advantage of McClary for escaping after hosting McClary, after making the McClary hostage, after making the McClary smuggle, or after making the McClary hostage with a weapon. He could escape, get him to smuggle in the chisel. Means Governor was thinking if Evans would frighten the McClary with any chisel, sharp weapon, okay, and after that with a sharp weapon he could make the McClary hostage, and after that he would escape. So I was thinking, or the Governor sat up sharply. It was all very well getting rid of any potential weapon that Evans could have used. The Governor sat sharply. Governor thought very attentively that it was all very well getting rid of any potential weapon. Means Governor was thinking sharply that every weapons from Evans had been already taken. That is why Evans could not try to make the McClary hostage and could not try to run away from there. Evans could have used. But what about McClary? Governor was thinking at first regarding Evans. Evans could make the McClary hostage with the weapon which he had hidden, but when he was sure after thinking that all the weapons, sharp things, sharp tools had been taken from Evans, that is why he could not do this. After that he started thinking about McClary. What about McClary? What it? Quite unwittingly, the innocent McClary had brought in something himself. When I was thinking, maybe unknowingly, McClary would have brought some sharp tool along with him, like jackknife he would have brought. And what if Evans held him hostage with such a weapon? And because of that sharp knife, jackknife, Evans could make McClary hostage with that jackknife and then escape. Governor reached for the phone. It was 9:12 am. After thinking that, Governor reached for the phone at 9:12. Governor reached for the phone. The examinee and the invigilator had already been introduced himself. That time, when he switched on the receiver, then he heard that he heard that in his one cell, examinee Miss Evans and invigilator Miss Stuart McClary, or impersonating Stuart McClary, you can say, had already been introduced by Stephens. When Jackson came back and shouted to McClary, okay, he heard while he reached the phone, then he heard through the receiver, then Stephens introduced invigilator to Evans, and after that, what happened? After that, governor instructed Jackson. Governor instructed something to Jackson. That is why Jackson came back and shouted to McClary. Means after handing the McClary over to Stephen, Jackson went away. Okay, and when governor called Jackson on phone for giving some instruction to Stephens or Stuart McClary, then Jackson came back. He shouted to McClary through the cell door, and he called McClary. He shouted McClary to come outside of the cell through the cell door. Can you come outside, Minister, you to Stephen? And he also called Stephens out of the cell. Okay. Jackson quickly explained the governor's worries, and when he called Stephens and McClary out of the cell, then he told the instruction given by the governor. And McClary patiently, what was the instruction given by governor? Governor instructed Jackson to search invigilator, to search Stuart McClary. Okay. When Stuart McClary heard this instruction given by the governor, he very patiently held out his arms like that. Held out his arms. Clear? Held out his arms like that. I say. Okay. Held out his arms, and while he stood by holding his arms up to the shoulder, then what happened? Up to the shoulder level, then Jackson lightly frisked his cloth. Then Jackson lightly searched his cloth like this. Directly searched his cloth. And then after that, something hard here. While he was searching Stuart McClary's cloth, then he found something hard inside the cloth. Then he asked, "What is that?" "Sir, my reading glass." Then impersonating Stuart McClary replied that it was his spectacles. Looking down the spectacles, Jackson quickly reassured him, and bending down on the landing, thumb flicked the catches on the suitcase. After searching Stuart McClary, Jackson bent down and opened his suitcase with a thumb flick. With a thumb. Okay, he pushed the lock of the suitcase and suitcase was open. Okay. He picked up each envelope, and after opening the suitcase, Jackson picked up each envelope and turned it over carefully and passed his palms along the surface of everything and seemed satisfied. After that, he was satisfied that there was there was no weapon inside the envelope. He rifled casually through a new pages of Holy Writ, and he moved his hand on the few pages of, he moved his hands to the few pages of Holy Writ or Bible. Bible was also kept there. Okay. And he moved his hands on few pages of the Bible in order to make him sure if any sharp blade or sharp knife would not have been kept among the pages. And vaguely shook the church time. And there was newspaper also church time. That is why he also shook the newspaper church time. If something would be inside the newspaper, he wanted to make him self-sure. And after that, do you mind, just wait, newspaper vaguely, all right so far, but one of the objects in McClary's suitcase was puzzling him sorely. But he found one material in McClary's suitcase. And after looking at this material, Jackson was confused badly and he was thinking why McClary had brought that material. What was it? Do you mind telling me why you have brought this, sir? And you know what was the material? That material was semi-inflated rubber ring. And after looking at that semi-inflated rubber ring, he asked McClary why he had brought that rubber ring. He held up a smallish semi-inflated rubber ring. Such a young little child with a waist of about 12 inches might have struggled with it. The diameter of the ring was just as the diameter of the waist of, as the diameter was like that, if it could be fitted in the waist of a little child. Okay, about 12 inches high. The diameter of that rubber ring was like that, it would be fitted on the waist of the little child of the 12 inches high. And you thinking going for a swimming, sir? And he asked Jackson if he was thinking to go to swim, because rubber ring is used for swimming purpose. That is why he asked, but it was very you can say a little rubber ring. So how McClary could swim with that rubber ring? But Jackson asked if he wanted to swim, if he wanted to go for swimming purpose. Then McClary, hitherto amiable demeanor, was slightly ruffled by his tasteless title pleasantry. And when Jackson asked McClary if he wanted to go for swimming, after listening that useless question, it seemed if McClary was not happy with that question of Jackson. That is why his pleasant demeanor, pleasant behavior, pleasant his appearance, his face, he seemed angry that time. His facial expression was like that, if it seemed if he was angry. His friendly demeanor, his friendly appearance was changed into angry appearance. Understood? At first he was looking friendly, and when Jackson asked this question if he wanted to go for swimming with that rubber ring, then his friendly behavior, friendly appearance was changed into harsh appearance. Clear? He answered Jackson somewhat sorely, and he answered Jackson rudely. He replied Jackson rudely, in a rude way. He replied Jackson, if ye must know, I suffer from hemorrhoids, and then I am sitting down for any length of time. And Mr. McClary replied Jackson rudely that Jackson must know that McClary was suffering from hemorrhoids. Hemorrhoids, students, is type of disease, piles. Okay, hemorrhoid means piles. The disease piles. He was suffering from piles. He told Jackson that he was suffering from piles, and when he feel pain, then he used to sit on that rubber ring. That is why he had brought that rubber ring. Very sorry, sir, I did not mean. Very sorry, sir, I did not mean to disturb you. And after that, after listening to McClary's rude words, Jackson apologized for his rude behavior, for his misbehavior. The embarrassment was still reddening Jackson's cheeks when he found a paper knife at the bottom of the case. And when Jackson, after that he left rubber ring and he continued searching, and after that when he got a paper knife at the bottom of the suitcase, then he was again confused. I think I would Better keep this enough. This though. And he asked McClary that he was thinking if he had to keep that paper knife with him, if you don't mind. That is, sir. It was after that he get paper knife. He took paper knife from McClary. It was 9:18 a.m. before the governor heard their voices again. And it was clear that examination was going to be more than a little late in getting underway. And it was 9:18 a.m. before the governor heard their voices of Jackson, McClary and Stephens and Evans. And it was clear that McClary was searched and he had not bought anything. He had bought paper knife and Jackson had taken that paper knife. After that it was clear to governor that examination was going to be more than little late. Okay, this examination was going to be started at 9:15, but because of searching purpose, examination was going to commence little late than the scheduled time. McClary. Now, governor heard the voices of McClary and Evans in his cell. You have got a watch? McClary was asking Evans if he had wristwatch to see the time. Evans answered yes in affirmation that he had watch. McClary, I will be telling you when to start and again when you have 5 minutes left, all right? Then McClary again instructed Evans that he would tell him when to start writing the answers of the question, and after that he would inform him when he had to stop writing. He would inform him before 5 minutes of the end of the examination. Okay, but he would tell that 5 minutes are left. After that he would arrange his sheet and he would submit his answer sheets to invigilator. Then silence was spread. Nobody spoke that after that. Then McClary again told Evans, there is plenty more of these writing papers should you need it. McClary told Evans that he had plenty of B answer sheets. If he needed those sheets, he could take. Then silence. McClary, now write the name of the paper 021-1 in the top of the left hand corner. Then McClary instructed Evans. The answer sheet was distributed, okay, and question paper are distributed. Then McClary instructed Evans to write his name on the paper 021-1 at the top of the left hand corner. McClary instructed Evans to write his name on the paper, and he also write the paper code, which was 021-1 at the top left hand corner. Students, 021-1 paper code. Okay, while telling summary I told you that there was a coding language. This is the coding language. With the help of that language, Evans went away. Evans came to know that where he had to go after escaping. Okay, 021-1 in the top left hand corner. Then silence spread. McClary again instructed Evans, at the top right hand corner write your index number. So he wants to write his index number at the top right hand corner of the paper, of the answer sheet. And index number is 313. It is also coding language. Clear? It is his room number, I think, where he had to stay in his hotel. And in the box just below that, and next session, McClary gave Evans that in the box just below where he has written index number, he had to write center number 271. Okay, 313, 271, 021-1. These are all coding language. Clear? All right. After that, McClary told all right, and he had to start writing. Silence at 9:20 a.m. McClary, I am going to speak. McClary, he is not going to stay there. And after that, Evans asked McClary because Stephens was there in the cell. The examination was going to be commenced. Stephens was also there. That is why Evans asked McClary if Stephens would stay even during the examination. McClary, I don't know about that. Then McClary told Evans that he did not know about that if Stephens would stay in the cell even during examination or he would go away. Stephens, Mr. Jackson's given me strict instruction. Stephens was listening Evans' word. That is why Stephens told Evans and McClary that he would stay in the cell because of Jackson's order, Jackson's strict instruction. Jackson instructed him strictly that Jackson instructed Stephens strictly that he would have to stay in Evans' cell even during examination. Evans, now I am supposed to concentrate on my exam with someone breathing down my neck. Cries, sorry sir, I did not mean. And then Evans told McClary that if somebody would be inside the cell, Stephens or any other person, then he could not concentrate in examination. He could not write proper answer. He could not think of writing about correct answers of the questions. The governor reached for the phone again because governor had a receiver and you are listening the conversation while Stephens, Evans and McClary were talking. Governor was listening, and governor, after hearing the conversation, after hearing the problem which Evans told, then he called Jackson on phone. Governor called Jackson on phone after listening the Evans problem. Governor called Jackson on phone. Ah, good. Get Stephens out of that cell, will you? And he instructed Jackson to instruct Stephens to come out of the cell. I think we were perhaps overdoing thing. And the governor also told Evans that he was thinking that they were perhaps extra vigilant. They are perhaps taking extra strictness. Clear? As you wish, sir. And after listening governor's word, Jackson told him as his wish, according to which he would say Stephens to come out of the cell. The governor heard the exchanges in the cell. After that, because governor was in his room, office, after giving instruction Jackson to get Stephens out of the cell, and Jackson instructed Stephens to get out of the cell. Then governor heard the exchanges in the cell. Governor heard that Stephens went out of the cell, and after unlocking the cell door, after that he again locked the cell door. Okay. Heard the door clanging once more. That is why he heard the clanging sound of the door, opening of the door and closing of the door. Okay. Unlocking the door and locking of the door. And heard McClary announce that the examination had begun at last. After McClary announced that it was the time to start to commence the examination. Clear? It was 9:25 a.m. and examination was commenced at 9:25 a.m. and there was a great calm. There was a great silence in the cell at 9:25 a.m. Okay, McClary announced that Evans should start writing that time. Now, at 9:40 a.m. the examination board rang to, and the assistant secretary with a special responsibility for modern languages asked to speak to the governor. And at 9:40 a.m. examination board rang through. Governor heard the ringing sound of his phone, and that phone was from examination board, and assistant secretary of the examination board with the special responsibility of modern languages wanted to speak to governor. Okay, means assistant secretary of the examination board who was responsible for the modern languages, he wanted to speak to governor. The examination had already started, no doubt. He told governor that examination had been started, no doubt. He knew very well. Half an hour ago, governor told him that before 15 minutes examination had been started. Yes, well. Then assistant secretary of the examination board told governor that there was a correction slip which some fool had forgotten to place in the examination package. Assistant Secretary of the Examination Board told the governor that some foolish person had forgotten to keep correction slip in the suitcase. Very brief could the governor please. And he asked governor if he could help him to make some corrections in the question paper. Yes, of course, I will put you straight through to Mr. Jackson in Deaving. Hold the line in a minute. Then governor replied in affirmation and he told that yes, he would help him to make some corrections in the question paper, and he also told him that he would connect him to Jackson and Deaving, and he would, whatever he wanted to say, he would say to Jackson. And he also requested him to hold the line for a minute while he was connecting the line to Jackson. Was this the sort of thing the governor had feared? And governor connected line to Jackson, but he had a fear in his mind. If the phone call was a fake call, if it was not call from the assistant secretary of the examination board, but without identifying the call, he connected the line to Jackson. He was really a foolish governor. Was the phone call a fake? First he connected line, then he was thinking. Some signal, some secret message he was thinking, if some secret messages were to be given to Evans for escape, some secret signal, but he could check on that immediately. But he wanted to check immediately how, listen, he dialed the number of the examination board for checking if that call from the examination board or not. He dialed the number of the examination board immediately. Okay? But heard only the staccato beeps. But he only heard an engaging tone. Clear? Engaging tone. It means language engaged. Somebody was speaking on phone, someone is talking to other person on phone, and governor assured that that person was assistant secretary of the examination board. He was talking to Jackson. That is why he heard the engaged tone. So, but governor should have thought if somebody in the examination board would have involved in Evans' escaping plan, but he had not thought. Okay, because he only talked through phone, not face to face. He talked to the Secretary of Examination Board on phone. He talked Assistant Secretary of Examination Board on phone. He did not see their faces. Okay, and after that he believed them. He was a governor. He was a prisoner, Mr. Chief of the prison. Even after that, he believed very simply, very easily on them. Then what happened? After that, he found a busy tone. Yes, not very said that 2 minutes later he heard some whispered communications in the cell, and then McClary's broad Scots voice. After 2 minutes he heard some whispering communication. Means he heard that somebody मतलब some persons were talking in a low voice in the cell, and then he heard McClary's broad Scottish voice. Will you please stop writing a little while? Little while. V while means little while. And McClary told Evans to stop writing for a little while. Instructed Evans to stop writing for a little while. Mr. Evans, and listen carefully. Candidates offering German 021-1 should note the following correction. And he was giving instruction to Evans that candidates who was attempting German question paper, the code of the question paper, or the code of that question paper is 021-1, should note the following correction. Means Evans question paper code of Evans was 02-1. That is why he was telling Evans to make some corrections in his question paper. And after that, he instructed Evans that he had to open page number 3 of the question paper and look at line number 15. And in line number 15 there was a fourth word. And in fourth word, we say in line number 15, page number 3, on line number 15 there was a fourth word. It was written, fourth word was golden, and it is wrong. In place of golden, instructed Evans, in place of word golden, he should have to write goldenen. And the whole phrase will therefore read zum goldenen. Means the whole phrase was written zum golden lion. Okay, zum golden lion. But in place of zum golden lion, there should be, as a correction, zum goldenen lion. And McClary again said that he would repeat that word so that Evans could make correction easily. Okay, zum goldenen lion. Now students, I think you will have understood this part of the lesson, and tomorrow I will explain next part of the lesson. Thank you and have a nice day. I think I explained too much today. Thank you.